For the essay, again, you don't have to do the essay. I'm not going to be reading it, again, unless you want me to read one of them. And even then, I won't be able to really give you an honest assessment of what I think it would be, because I haven't graded. There's 2 graders I think you get. One's a person, one's a computer. And that should tell you a lot about the test. That they have a computer grading you, and that it doesn't matter, it matters kind of what you say, but it matters how you say it, so it matters that your grammar is fine, because in Word, the green squiggly line and the red squiggly line, there's computers that can tell if you messed up typographically or grammatically. So you want to be sure that you write fine. Is it typing now, or it's still writing? It's all writing. My biggest thing was legibility, right? Yeah. Writing on that, like, I honestly think, like, once on I did a math contest. I know I did really well on it, but I got, it was math contest, started out like 8th, and luckily there was a countdown round, so I was able to go up with oral answers. But I was 8th when I know I probably scored, like 3rd or 4th. And the reason was legibility, because I saw the exam afterwards, and some of the readers couldn't tell the difference between my 0s and 6s. So I was illegible in math, let alone like actual writing. So legibility is key here. If your legibility is pretty bad, write slowly. Try being careful about that. Spelling and grammatical errors. And then there was a study showing that the more you write, literally like the more lines you write, the higher your score. Right? It's like that's what they showed. So it's weird because they don't seem to penalize being verbose, which you should know is meaning talk like too much, like writing. Verbosity is something. It's funny because the essay you should be verbose, but everything else in the writing section you need to kill that verbosity. Like you have to like not be verbose. If you're really messed up on the prompt, just try stretching out longer. It should definitely be at least a page. And then again, it doesn't even matter. The writing section, even on the MCAT, I wasn't worried about it. If you can do the FCAT and get over a 4, I guess, you can do this writing section. So, and then 2 quick notes on the rest of the grammar problems. If you have to guess, it's usually going to be the shortest answer. And that's, again, going back to the whole not being verbose. Most of the questions, the choices they give you, there'll be some very awkward ones that have many different commas, and punctuation errors. The more punctuation marks and commas and things like that in the choice, the more likely it's wrong. Because you never want that many commas in a row. That, shorter, better, and those are the two main things if you have to guess. Let's go through some actual maybe grammar problems. Just like we'll do in the critical reading section, we'll skip the passage-based grammar ones unless there's a quick grammar question you had, and focus more on the sentence correction ones, I guess. What section is it?
For writing?
6? And what is that the only section?
There's 10.
6 and 10, okay. Did anyone have questions on first what are these ones called? Whatever the first parts are. Yeah, so I guess these are the sentence correction ones. Any questions there? Again, did anyone get it perfect or? No? Okay. Anything that threw you guys off? Again, actually one thing is it really is, whoever gets the most help is the one probably who talks the most, who asks the most questions. So don't feel like you should be quiet. Ask the question if you got it wrong. No shame. And it's actually rewarded. What?
Like these questions here, where they would underline a section and they say what's wrong.
Is that I was looking at these ones to see if any of the ones you got wrong here first, and then we can do the other ones too.
I've got a statement and a question kind of together. I looked at a couple of these just to see what the test was like, and when I looked at them, I noticed that the second one would be right or would be extremely good, and I just picked that one and moved on, and I never once got them wrong for doing that. and it seemed to save an awful lot of time never looking at the other answers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and.
I don't recommend that.
Don't recommend that? Okay.
No, I think
That was
more
working
probably
good.
luck. Unless, I mean, like, your grammar's probably very good and you realize, like, this is.
Yeah, we're not gonna get another one that's gonna be better than this, so
Right,
it just,
but you may, so like, that's
yeah.
that's the
Well, you
one
can come
thing
back
is-
and check them
It
later.
can be
you know.
intuitive, it can be very intuitive.
You have a few more decades of experience with good grammar, I think. I think when I was in high school, at least, there were at least, especially for idioms, the ones where it's like, do you use from or in or like about or with, like, those are idioms, right? Those phrases. That's where the way we speak to each other is not the way you want to be looking at the grammar section. We say a lot of things wrong, and I gave you that example last time about while climbing up the mountain, her compass fell out of her pocket. We say that all the time, it's wrong. So you definitely want to look at all the choices here. It'd be foolish to cover up the choices, so don't do that on the grammar. I mean, especially for these ones, but I want you to read it out. Like, if you're confused about some of these, like, read it out to yourself, because sometimes your ear can spot the error, just like in how awkward it is, especially when it's a punctuation error. If you take a comma, for example, this is a good example of one. I don't know, like number 10. By building new windmill farms, consumption of fossil fuels are reduced, and tons of carbon dioxide emissions are kept out of the atmosphere. Right? That's not really a problem with commas, but if it was, you'd spot it when you read it out to yourself. If every time you saw the comma, you paused for like a second and a half or 2 seconds, right? Because then you'd be like, this is an awkward sentence. Especially if there are 2 or 3 commas in a row, like you definitely want to see that. So a lot of times if you read out to yourself, you spot the error just by your ear. And the more you read, the more often you'll spot the error. Especially because you're reading now, like I've seen what you guys are reading, National Geographic, Smithsonian, these are quality publications. You'll spot these errors. But generally, like, you can save time, but most of the time you won't be out of time with this section, I think. So unless you feel like you're definitely running out of time, then you can maybe not look at all the choices, but oftentimes I was stuck between 1 or 2 choices. And if I had read the other choice, maybe it would have occurred to me that it was better. So.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions on these? Like specific rules or, like, again, like, it's good that you guys don't have too many questions because you're supposed to do most of the review and grading yourself. Because you can see, like, it's already been an hour and a half. We have maybe 15 minutes left. And so we haven't gone through even the reading yet. So it can take a long time. But again, I want to focus these on the math and the writing because all the other stuff you should develop as you read the daily articles and grade yourself. Because again, like, the best thing I could teach you here is just to be a self-teacher, to learn why you got something wrong yourself. Do you have a question?
Yeah, for number 14, I know that A was the right answer, but I was wondering what rule exactly that versus.
Oh yeah. What's this called? Badly. It's like an adverb, or it's an adverb, right? Adverbs, you never want to have like surprisingly badly. Yeah, badly is not a very good adverb. I forgot. Like, in terms of explaining this stuff, like.
It's because you're using that word to describe a noun, and because you're describing a noun, you can't use an adverb because they only describe verbs and adjectives. So that's why surprisingly is okay, because surprisingly is modifying the word badly, or bad, it should be bad, but since that's modifying an adjective, that's okay, but because the adjective is modifying a noun, it doesn't work.
Right. Well said. Yeah, so again, that comes with reading a lot. Surprisingly bad, badly, not very good. Anything else? And like, look at number 18. I don't know what the answer is, but B, because I haven't read it, but I just saw B belongs to. That's an idiom, right? That's belongs to is fine, but and related to, like whatever these are, right now, without reading the sentence and trying to look for the error, it looks fine. But belongs to and related to are fine. But sometimes it'll give you related with, right? That's wrong. Right? Somebody is, like, I'm not related with my sister, to my sister. And you'll be surprised how often, like, some of these idioms, which should be very clear, become unclear based on just, based on common speech. It's called vernacular. Do you guys know what that word is? Vernacular. Okay, good. Nobody has questions in section 6. Apart from that, good question.
I don't really have a question, it's just like, I don't know why, but I just do really bad on these problems.
On
And
these ones?
Is that just something that I need to practice?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, short. Yeah. Like what I will do is I'll send. My friend and I were still compiling that list of grammar stuff, so I'll send that to you guys through the Dropbox or Gmail, and maybe once you review that, what I would suggest in the meantime is, have you gone through the writing section in this book?
No, I haven't looked at this.
If you can, look at that for now.
Okay.
And see what the strategies are here, because sometimes I think they explain a few of the writing problems. If any particular section is really like messing with you, feel free to go and get, like, this is the only book you need, but if you want extra practice beyond these tests and beyond what I say by taking 1 or 2 a week, there's the Princeton Review like section tests, like cracking the writing section, cracking the math section. Do some problems out of that, and eventually it'll click. I think as you read, again, like, you'll see the transition. So,